What? What?
What? We got a paper, that's what.
Devoted sister, beloved cunt?
Oh!
Huh? That's what you put in the paper?
This is a typo. That's Ann. It should be Ann.
Jeff, look at this before he turned it in.
No, they have proofreaders at
The
these
woman
papers.
leads a decent life, and this is how she ends up? Beloved cunt?
Oh!
My wife is upset. I'm just glad you weren't in charge of the Head Start.
Oh, my God. I meant beloved Ann, not beloved cunt.
Larry,
Don't keep saying it.
please.
Here we are, Jeff and Susie.
Yes, Jeff Garlin, Susie Essman.
History of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
We're doing episode 8.
Episode 8, Beloved Aunt.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting is my opinion. I mean, yes, The Wire, you saw things
No,
start
it
to go.
opened the door for what
Yes,
we are
this
now.
This episode is Curb, this
Yes,
episode.
and also this is of the first season, the
classic
that people talked about
Yeah.
for a long time.
And what's interesting is this was my third episode that I did, and I hadn't seen the special, the pilot. I hadn't seen any outlines or anything. So I was just showing up and, Larry would tell me, this is what the scene's about, and I would do it. For some reason, I saw the outline for this episode.
Oh, okay.
And I read the outline, and I remember, and it's 22 years ago, I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, how about
once
that?
I
didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I read this outline. I was like, this shit is amazing how he put this stuff together. And this episode, more than any that we've discussed thus far, is really the jigsaw puzzle, the crossword puzzle, however you want to put it, of how he puts the episodes together, more than any that we've been thus far.
Well, this is one of those classic, I mentioned Nat Hiken before, who did Bilko and Car 54, where it's like if you've ever seen someone touch the domino and it goes up and down and all over, and it ends up in the middle.
Larry has become a master of.
Yeah.
And to me, this is the beginning of that. So the episode begins with a cross. It begins with a picture of a cross, and they're at a funeral, and it's such a guyish funeral. It's Cheryl's family, it's Cheryl's aunt. They flew in from Florida, and Craig Anton.
Yes.
This is the first time we meet Cheryl's family.
Yes.
So Becky, who is Caitlin Olsen.
Yep, Caitlin Olsen, that was her first episode, and I think it was her first big gig.
And she's gone on to
I think she worked a lot after Curb.
Yeah.
And what a delight to work with.
I never actually worked with her. I love to watch her because I think she's brilliant.
She's a lovely person.
Yeah, and she went on to Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and that other, I'm blocking, because we both have brain fog. Amazing work.
Yeah.
And of course, she comes back to Curb for many years after, including more recently.
Yeah.
And Paul Dooley, who plays
Dooley is
Cheryl's
one of my
father.
heroes.
Oh my God, is he
known,
great.
I guess most people would know him as the father in 16 Candles.
And also the, what was the one, the bicycling one?
Breaking Away.
Refund.
Refund. That's what he would say to his son.
And he was also an improv actor.
Yeah, he's very much. He was also one of my heroes.
Yeah.
And to be in a scene with Paul Dooley, to hang out with Paul Dooley, Mike Haggerty was a contemporary of mine who we talked about in the last episode.
Paul Dooley was much older than us.
Paul Dooley was a hero of mine because for me, the improvisational comedic character actors who can sometimes star in movies, but man, that guy.
Was he a Second City guy?
I don't think he was.
His wife, Winnie, wrote Wicked, the Broadway show Wicked.
She created that TV show. She created Wicked.
And she was also on Curb.
She was on Curb.
I will get to her many seasons later.
What was that TV show she did with Claire Danes?
I don't know.
Okay.
Craig Anton plays Becky's boyfriend, who was a stand-up. I knew him from stand-up for many years.
By the way, a great stand-up.
Yeah.
And do you know a story because he looks like Andy Kaufman? So much like
a little
Andy
bit,
Kaufman.
yeah.
You say a little bit, I say a lot.
Yeah.
Together we're cops. But he auditioned for Man on the Moon for Milos Forman, who directed it.
Yeah.
And he was going to get it until the studio said, we want Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey was great, so don't get me wrong. I think Jim Carrey's remarkable. But until that moment, he was going to be playing Andy
there's
Kaufman.
a million stories like that in this Naked City.
Really, but I know, but that's really heartbreaking to get that close to something.
Of being a star in a movie, in a Milos
And by the way,
Forman
also,
movie.
as we say, a really kind, sweet man who was so experimental as a comedian.
Very funny. Very, very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember working with him in New York. And he and Larry start talking at the funeral. Thank you for the hotel room. Is the minibar included? And Larry's being incredibly generous and gracious. And it's the first time we meet Cheryl's family, and we get the whole sense of this.
Right.
Cheryl's is really from Tallahassee, Florida.
Yes.
And not Jewish, and marries this super Jew. And there's that juxtaposition. And then Craig starts to confide in Larry that he wants to break up with Becky because Becky wants to get married and he doesn't want to get married. And he was going to break up with her on the day her aunt died, but then, of course, he couldn't.
Okay, this to me is a complete page of Larry David's life.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I break up now? Oh, this happened. I can't do it now. I can do it next Tuesday. By the way, Craig Anton's character could not be talking to a better person
than Larry
David in that moment. But that's Larry. I was going to break up with her, but then, her aunt died.
And we've had so many scenarios like that that come up where it's, and Larry says, if it was her mother, you could wait 6 days after you get back to Florida. But with an aunt, you could do it when you get home.
As soon as you get home, yeah.
Yeah. And what should I say to her? Tell her you're unhappy. That works every time. Larry is the worst person to get a relationship advice.
He tells him to tell her you're unhappy. It works every time. And then he follows that with, I've never done that, but I know it works every time.
But he's the totally wrong person to get relationship advice from.
Yes.
Completely. Yes. And then he says to him, we never had this conversation.
Yeah.
So, and then they go back to the house, and they're all sitting around with the other relatives, I assume, from Aunt Louise, was it? Yes.
Well, I wrote down after we had intercourse.
That was because he said, how long did it take you to get married? And he said, very soon after we had intercourse, but we were friends first.
Yeah, okay. God, that's
a Larry thing. And Larry's being incredibly gracious, and you could see how bored he is sitting with the family and talking about their Goyish stuff.
It's an un-Jewish Shiva.
Right, there's no Rugala.
Yeah, no anything.
And Paul...
By the way, I want to also, because I love, you always ask me to explain. A Shiva is what Jews do. You visit the home of the relatives of whoever passed away, and it's chock full of food. And great food. And remember as a kid...
There's usually a deli spread, and then there's a lot of pastries.
Usually, always a deli spread.
And then there's a lot of fruit salad.
And by the way, pastries, yes. I never paid much attention to the
and
fruit salad. Yeah, so as you can see from the one on TV, there's nothing to eat.
Right. It's people...
Just like this studio. They got nothing to eat.
People ask me, what's
that?
A Shiva, non-Jews? And I say, it's a wake with Rugala.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
It's like Purim. It's like Halloween, except with 3 characters.
So Paul's character, I forgot his name in the show. They never say it. He brings up that he wishes that there was an obituary, and Larry volunteers that he'll take care of it because my manager, being Jeff, he has a friend that works for the newspaper, and it'll be very tasteful and appropriate, Larry says. And then he meets you at the restaurant and talks about maintaining the outfit. He's in a suit. Larry always looks very handsome in a suit. He's got that long, lanky look. And Jess says he's going to take care of the obituary, and we find out that Aunt Louise actually killed herself and didn't leave a note. So rude.
That's what Larry and I are saying to each other. We're getting angry about who would do that.
And you tell Larry...
My mom's in town with my dad. It's her birthday. It'd be great, considering all that's gone down between you and my parents, if for my mom's birthday you got her a little gift, a little something. Doesn't matter what it is. It's a nice gesture.
Yeah. And so you start to write the obituary. Louise Honig, whatever her name was, devoted sister, beloved aunt. Cut to now they're at the house at the Shiva/wake, whatever it is. And Paul's talking about traffic, and that we find out that Craig broke up with Becky. And Larry's nonplussed by this, just in his face, because he told him to wait till they got back. Craig clearly could not contain himself.
Wait. Doesn't he go out to get the newspaper?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
And then I'm
Larry wants to
misremembering.
play golf, and Cheryl says you can't play golf. And then Paul starts talking about how funny Carrot Top is, which, for comedians, it's like put a gun to my fucking head.
Right.
And Paul goes to get the obituary.
Right.
Because I remember Julie saying, it always cracked me up, it gives him pleasure to use the rental car.
Yes, really funny.
Those are the kinds of lines you can't write.
When he got up and said that he hadn't used his mileage on the car.
Yeah.
That was also funny.
Yeah, those are the things that a great improviser just comes up with.
Yeah.
And then Paul gets up and leaves, and Julie will not move over.
Larry
asked her to move over. She's like,
yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And she pats his knee. No boundaries whatsoever. No sense of personal space. And Larry starts doing Don Corleone and being generally charming and doing impressions. And then Becky comes in, hysterical, crying that Craig said something about not being happy. What does that even mean? There was a little moment in that when she lies down on Cheryl's lap and Larry goes to pet her hair.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny. Those awkward moments.
Those little moments are so beautiful. And then Larry decides he has to leave to go get your mother a gift.
And as he's leaving, he's saying goodbye to the whole circle of family members. And he remembered all their names.
He did.
He
Fred
said,
didn't.
No, the
Ethel,
best name
whoever
ever
was.
that we loved the minute we heard it. One of the guys in that scene, his name was Brass.
Brass.
Yeah.
Brass, you're here? Okay, Barbara? George, right here. Gladys?
That was delightful. Larry loves a good name, too,
He
by
does.
the way.
He does. We all do. We're comics. So he goes to go get a gift for your mother. And this is a typical Larry thing, as in real life. He's fucking clueless. How to buy a gift, how to wrap a gift, how to present a gift. He doesn't know the general niceties of the world and how to behave.
Yeah.
So he goes shopping, and he goes to get her some sunglasses that Liz Taylor apparently has the same ones. And I believe that was his niece Julie, who was playing the...
Yes, she did great.
Yeah, she did good. She's been in other times as well, who was playing the salesperson. And then he asked her to wrap it. He has no idea how to wrap. Where do you get a scissor? Where do you get a tape? Where do you get wrapping paper? And it's very complicated. He's flummoxed. He leaves with the sunglasses just in the glass case, and he returns home, and they're all up in arms because they got the obit. And what happens, Jeff?
Well, Paul Dooley says, why don't you read it? Larry starts reading it, and the second Larry gets to the key moment, Paul Dooley screams, "Beloved cunt! Beloved cunt!" Is that how she's supposed to be remembered? Beloved cunt. He timed it perfectly.
Yes. Because he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And there was a typo, and instead of devoted sister, beloved aunt, it said beloved cunt.
And by the way, it is repeated so many times. Yes.
So many times.
Yeah.
And it's not a word that we really use in this show at all.
Well, by the way,
I
a lot of
myself have
times,
only used it once.
The first improvised shows that came after Curb that I watched, and one still then, comics, different people trying to copy Curb, they seem to think that just by saying swear words and being dirty, that they're doing the same thing we're doing.
They think that about me. They think that that's what I'm doing when it's not.
Right.
Yeah, let's just take this opportunity to say that, people have tried to imitate Curb, but they can't because they don't have Larry's story brain.
That's right.
That's what's the glue that holds the whole show together.
Right.
It's not just some random...
Hey, I'm developing an improvised show right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm going to be on camera or not in it, but I know it won't be as good as Curb. You know what that feels like to go, I'm creating this new show, I'm excited about it. It's not going to be as good as Curb. Well,
Larry has a lot of geniuses, but I think his main genius is his story brain.
Yeah.
His sense of story. And I think you saw that on Seinfeld as well. Becky comes in and confronts him that she just got off the phone with Craig and, all this kind of stuff that he told Craig to say to her.
I'm surprised that she's called Becky because every other human being, I noticed the first season, it's their real first name.
That's true.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just thinking that now. So go ahead, though.
But she's called Becky, and she just confronts Larry, and it's just a pile-on Larry, and then Cheryl kicks him out. Before he leaves, he says to Cheryl, how do I get this gift wrapped about the glasses? He's at a gas station. He asked the guy how to get a gift shop. And there was that producer with the blonde hair. What was his name? Scott?
Yeah, Scott is in the scene,
Scott
too.
Butler, I think.
By the way, he did a great job. Scott Butler.
Yeah.
He did a great job in there.
A Hallmark store, a party store.
Yeah,
they
everyone
have the
in here
scissors
doing
and
these
the
little
tape.
things. The gas attendant, who was played by a guy I know, Paul, I can't remember. But anyhow, it was perfect the way they played it. Like, I don't know, where would it be and how do you do that?
And it's one of these things, I mean, it never occurred to me. But I've noticed in LA, it's harder to do those little kinds of things than it is in New York.
Out.
Yeah, like for example, I need to get a key made. In New York, there's a locksmith around the corner from me.
Jim?
I just go, Jim.
Jim.
No, Phil. I just
Phil.
go to him and whatever. It's just, I need to buy a flashlight. I can't find a friggin' hardware store here. Whatever, it's different here.
Yeah.
So I understand his confusion that you can't get the scissors and the tape and the gift wrap. Then Larry comes to our house. And this was a moment that I noticed. I don't know if you noticed it. There was something, when he walks in, something happens between Larry and I that, again, out of character, never happened again for the next 22 years.
You're happy to see him.
We kiss each other hello.
Yeah.
We have never kissed each other hello since then.
Yeah.
But at this point, we didn't know what the relationship was.
And you even a little later on, I'll mention it now, tell Mina after she's had a moment with Larry that wasn't pleasant.
That he's not such a bad guy.
He's got a sweet side.
He's got a sweet side.
You say, yeah.
Yes. So all of this is just, I mean, I think that relationship really developed in the next season.
Right.
But right now in this season, we're just finding it. He gives your mother the glasses. And she's, they're not good enough because I have a prescription. They don't really work for me.
And by the way, Louis always, what is this thing not wrapped?
Yeah, exactly.
He's I get
Louis and I were talking about who plays your father.
Another hero.
And then Larry offers he's going to take care of the prescription. He's so Eddie Haskelling right now with your mother. And then we get the obit. And we read the obit. And we say cunt many, many times. Right. Beloved cunt, horrified.
And then my character says that we'll get a retraction.
Yes. We'll get a retraction.
And you have the line. Aren't you the one who says can't retract a thing? What can you do? It's just so funny.
So then you go off with your dad to watch the rest of the movie.
Right.
And Mina, your mother, decides that she wants to, again, see what the glasses look like. So she gets the glasses, and there's a toaster, a shiny stainless steel toaster that she could see her reflection in. Larry lifts the toaster up to look in it, and he inadvertently grazes her breast.
I don't think even grazes.
No,
it just goes against it.
Goes against it, and he stands there.
Yeah. And here's the thing. So Mina Kolb, who was in the original company of Second City, the very first one, played my mother in my movie I Want Someone to Eat Cheese With. One of the kindest.
And funny.
So funny. But you know what? Her natural pacing, which is very slow and nuanced, is so perfect in that scene.
I think so too,
Of when it happens, the look and the thing.
She doesn't push anything.
Zero push. And that's like I talk about Mike Haggerty. That's her. The great improvisers do what they do in their own time, rhythms.
They trust.
Yeah, they
trust.
She was so great. But the look on her face when they look at each other.
Yeah, fantastic. She sees the reflection in the toaster, and then she gives Larry that look. And then everybody goes to bed. And Larry's lying in bed in our house. Because Cheryl has kicked him
Larry
out.
Stays, by the way. Which
yes,
I find
that's right.
hilarious.
That's right. I insist that he stays. I have a completely different relationship with him in this.
Yeah.
But it's fine, And insisted that we have plenty of food, we have plenty of space, stay. And then you come and tell him he's got to leave because he copped a feel from your mom.
That's the first thing I say. The second thing I say, and this is the first time I ever remembering this happen, Larry loses his shit. And the crew lost their shit. Back then, they didn't know, I should keep my mouth shut. Everyone burst out laughing when I said, the second thing I said is, you got to go. You touched my mom's bosom.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, that struck everyone.
Bosom's funny.
Funny, I know, but everybody broke. And Larry had trouble getting back into it from bosom,
And then, of course, the whole interaction, he didn't want to make her feel bad by pulling
so
away.
Nonplussed by that story.
What do you mean I'm nonplussed? What do you want me to break out into laughter?
No, but you really had very little response to that. Here I am injecting something that's not a non sequitur.
I'm smiling.
I don't feel it. All right, keep going.
This is our relationship.
Yes.
And, you have the whole interaction. He's like, I don't go around feeling up old ladies. And you were understanding because, of course, he didn't want to just pull away as though it's, bad bosom,
And by the way, this is also the very first time. Actually, it happened in the pilot a few times, but this is the first time in the season where we're screaming at each other.
Yeah, but you're on the same page, basically.
Yes.
You're not having a fight.
But he's not mad at me. He's frustrated with the situation, as am I.
Yeah.
But Larry is actually really yelling, and he hasn't done that on the season.
Oh, is that true? I didn't notice that. Yeah. That was the first time he's yelling.
Yeah, he's really losing it.
He's yelled plenty since then. And you used to tell him to go to sleep. He's like, I'm dreaming about fucking your mother.
Yeah.
And he's got to get up early at 7:00 and leave before she sees him. So he's digging a hole. So now your family hates him. Cheryl's family hates him. And then he gets up in the middle of the night to go pee.
To go pee, but also my gut feeling is he hasn't even been to sleep yet. Like it's just been restless and sucky.
Could be, yeah. And your mother's coming out of the bathroom. And there's a confrontation. You think I enjoy that kind of thing, she says to him. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Louis comes running out. How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you, yeah.
And, we come running out and you kick him out and you apologize. And I'm shushing. Sammy's going to wake up, who was still a boy at that point. And you escort Larry out. And he says, even when I was dating, I would wait 4 months before a breast move.
Okay. So before that, I want to point out something that I noticed, and I watched it a few times. So as Larry's going out, I'm going out, and the family is moving down the hallway to go back to their rooms. Louis
goes the other way.
No. Louis says to Mina in the middle of this, stand up straight. Which is like, what?
You gotta go. It's an accident. You have to go.
I think it's better, Larry. Okay, Ma, he's gonna leave.
Go back to sleep.
Sick
person.
Go back to sleep.
Enough with the sick person. He's not a sick person.
Stand up straight.
And I went back. Did I see that? Yes. Louis came up with gold. Stand up straight, he tells her.
Oh, God,
which
he
makes
was
no
funny.
sense.
Oh, he was funny, though.
Oh, the funniest.
Anything out of his mouth was
so funny.
So then you ask him for the glasses back. You say, I'll take care of the prescription. You're standing on the steps of our first house, and you say, I'll take care of the prescription. He said, she's not getting the glasses now.
Right.
And he leaves, and he has nowhere to go.
Right.
So where does he go? He goes to the Roosevelt Hotel, where he already has a room booked that he gave to Becky and Craig.
Yeah.
And there are no rooms whatsoever. And he has a whole thing with the desk clerk, and he says to her, Frank Sinatra Jr. walks in here and you're not going to give him room.
Of all the people, by the way.
That cracked me up. It's not Frank Sinatra. You say Frank Sinatra walks in here, you're not going to give him room. Okay, that makes sense. But Junior?
Yeah. But, also the premise of I want you to kick them out of the room because I'm paying for it and set it up for me is such a,
He tries to bribe her with the sunglasses.
Oh, but there's a key moment here that is so beautiful. And that is, he says,
You ever watch the Seinfeld show?
Yes, sir.
And she says, yeah, of course. And then he can't bring him.
I have that
telling
here,
telling people who you are in order to get something is such a difficult thing to do.
Some people have no problem with it.
No problem. But I
have a problem with it.
I totally have a problem with it. But Larry gets to the point where he's going to say, I created that show.
Yeah.
And
but he
goes,
can't.
He
can't.
Just checking.
Yeah, he can't. He can't do that. And as a matter of fact, that was in an earlier scene, I think episode 1, when Cheryl goes over to the maitre d' and says, he created Seinfeld, and he's just, horrified that she did that.
I think I was the one who went to the maitre d'.
Cheryl did first, and then you went after her. Yeah. So Frank Sinatra Jr., the Pope, he wants Craig's room, and he tries to bribe her with the sunglasses. Ever watch Seinfeld? And then he runs into Craig with a woman, a floozy. Mm-hmm. Craig with a floozy, and he confronts him. Thanks for ratting me out with Becky, because he's in hot water. And then the security guy. They start a fight.
Before the security guy comes, though, I love how Craig rolls up his sleeve like he's going to get into a fight with Larry. And Larry says, what, are we going to fight now? You know? And it's really funny the way...
Security confronts Larry
and
says, are you a guest? Well, he's not. And Craig has a room key.
Yeah.
So security says to Craig, go up to your room. And Larry is kicked out. The indignity. Oh, the indignity.
Yeah,
he paid for the fucking room. He paid for the obituary. He paid for the sunglasses. The guy can't catch a break.
No.
And that's the episode. He goes home. He parks in front of the house.
Yeah.
And he sleeps in the car. The sun comes up, takes the sunglasses out, puts them in.
It's a beautiful ending. It's smooth.
It is the perfect half hour.
But it goes, that's the first great show we ever did.
I think so, too.
That episode. Other episodes had moments of greatness.
But this episode, I think we agree, is a classic, and it really solidified what Curb was going to become.
Yes.
In the future.
Unequivocally. This was the moment.
And it was a brilliant,
and by the
brilliant
way,
episode.
I knew it when we were filming it. I was like, this is different.
I didn't, because as I said in the beginning, I read the outline. It's the first outline I read. And even though I wasn't allowed.
By the way, that was normal. The only people that really read the outline prior to shooting was Larry, myself, and whoever the director was, and probably the line producer to know what to do. It wasn't given out. Now,
it wasn't given out. It was a big secret.
Now a lot of people are able to read the script.
That's only in the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, no, I'm
up
saying,
until maybe last season, nobody read the outline.
Yeah.
And we did, but,
I once did a movie that way, and anyone who wasn't like a real improviser was very unhappy about... I mean, they were happy we had a good time, but they were like, I can't.
This was episode 8, and I think that we see up until this point how almost everybody who's hired has improv background.
Yes.
Or stand-up background, which is similar.
Yeah.
It's different, but it carries over. That wasn't the word. Yeah, lotion. It lotions over. So that's Beloved Aunt, one of my favorites of all time. It's
really
in a top 10,
That's
I think.
a classic, no doubt about it.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week.
We will. Or later this week.
Or later this week, perhaps.
We don't know what it's going to be, but we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.